Hi guys, so this video is going to help you guys learn how to build some intent, and intent is going to help you start to learn who you want to become and how to get there. So this whole pamphlet that you guys are going through right now is helping you identify this person that you want to become. And so the reason that this is super important is because without this you have no vision moving forward. So you guys kind of have seen what I had talked about before with kind of how emotions tie into things. So when we live in an emotional state, we are not able to see our vision moving forward because remember, emotions are tied to the past. So if I am going to be living in this state of emotion, I am therefore living in the past and not this future and this vision for the future. So intent is essentially kind of manifesting the things that you want and how you want to get there. So specifically for this case, I want you guys to take whatever body weight that you are currently at right now and body fat percentage that you assume that you were at. And what we're going to do is we're going to take that and manifest it into a version of yourself that hasn't come about yet, but this version of you that you want to become, which is going to be under 200 pounds. It's going to be under 15% body fat, and it's going to have a variety of different aspects to it. A lot of them are going to be things like more willpower, more discipline, just an overall sense of knowledge. You guys are going to be more calm, and I mean really anything else that you guys really envision for yourselves. This isn't so much for me telling you what you're going to become, but you kind of exploring what you want to become. So one of the things that happens when people are trying to build intent to move forward is they try and control things too much, and that's a problem. Because if I sit here and I'm trying to manifest something and I say, I want a new car, like in my mind when I say I want a new car, I ideally don't have to pay for it. I get to continue to keep the car that I have. I have a place to park it, all these other things that I don't have to think about. Like, I just want everything to fall into place naturally. And unfortunately, that's not the way the world and the universe works. So what I could say is, I want to manifest this car, and, I want it to be, the more specific you can be about it, that's also going to help as well. So I could say, I want a Toyota Tacoma 2012 manual with, under 100,000 miles on it. It's red. And so then what I will do is, instead of assuming that this is just going to appear in my driveway, and instead of going to look for it, I will start to see it around. And so when I just start to notice it, instead of trying to seek it out and look for it, what I'm allowed to do is just let it kind of come about in its natural way instead of trying to control it and control its way into my life. So you want to try and be free and be open with all of this. And so I know this doesn't make a whole lot of sense right now, but just bear with me for a minute. So when you do this, you don't want to have any conditions or parameters that are going to, affect your way to get there. That's essentially how a lot of these companies out here are marketing products to people, is that you can just put this cream on and then velcro some leather shit to your stomach and you'll just lose weight without even having to do anything. You'll just burn more fat. Like thermogenics and fat burners, that's the same thing. It's take this and you don't have to do anything, you just burn more fat. So that's the problem, is you're saying I want a change but I don't want to do the work. So what you have to do is manifest yourself. I want to make this change, but I also want to become this person who can make this change. So that's the big part about this, is it's not so much saying I want to be under 200 pounds, but it's saying I want to be the person that can not only lose the weight, but also keep the weight off and live at under 200 pounds. So it's kind of more about the journey than it is the destination, which is a huge important piece in this, because that's where all this growth comes, and that's the part that people miss out on. They get so focused on this destination that they forget about the journey, and they can't develop themselves into the kind of person that can make the journey, which is what this program is all about, is it's developing the journey. So a couple things. One of the things that I know holds a lot of people back, I mean really everybody in the world has this issue with what it is that they want, and that is that they're letting fear control them in some way. So when you are living in fear, you are not living in control, because you are just trying to stay in a safe, comfortable place where nothing in the world can hurt you and nothing bad can happen, which means that you're not taking risks in order to try and lose the weight in the first place. So what I want you guys to do, and this is part of learning how to become who you want to become in order to be able to lose 200 pounds, is identify what you fear. So that's easier said than done, because a lot of people, it's very hard to sit here and just openly say to yourself, I am afraid of blank. You know, we tell ourselves these stories to keep ourselves safe and comfortable so that we don't have to experience fear. But what I'm going to say is, if I said in 7.5 months you are going to be under 200 pounds, you're going to be under 15% body fat, you're going to be disciplined, you're going to be calm, you're going to be living in a state of gratitude and happiness and hope and joy, and you're going to be 100% a different person in a more positive way, what are all the reasons that you would give me as to why you would say that I would be wrong? And then those are going to be the reasons for things that you fear. So one of those things could be something along the lines of, for like an example for myself, like if I said that I wanted to have $1 million by the end of the year, what are the immediate things I'm going to fear? Well, I'm going to have some doubts. I'm going to say, well, I'm going to have to cut back on some things, or I'm not going to be able to have this. You know, my sleep schedule might have to be different. I might have to work 2 jobs. You know, I'm starting to put all these things out here. They're telling me what I'm afraid of if I'm trying to get to this place. So what we have to do to overcome this is 2 things. One of them is we have to sit and work on a type of meditation where we're just letting ourselves be in the present moment and accepting all the things that are coming to us, which I'll talk about in a little bit, and that's going to create awareness. And then the other thing is that we have to identify what we do and what we do not control. So really, all that you can control in this world is how you perceive and how you react to things in the world. You are only in control of yourself. You are not in control of anything around you. So this is when it comes down to trying to stay on a diet or a method of eating, is instead of trying to focus on what we can control, we try to control the world around us. And we try and say, well, you know, I'm not going to put donuts in the house, or if there are donuts at work, like I'm just going to spend my time at the other end of the cubicle or something like that, instead of just saying, you know, I am within myself. Like, I can't expect there to not be donuts at work. You know, I can't expect everybody to drive the way I want to. I can't expect all of these other things, but all I can control is myself and how I react to things. So if there are donuts at work, I move to the other side instead of letting them control me and have any kind of power over me. So understand that you can only control yourself and how you react to things that happen in the world. And you can react in 2 different ways. You can react of a place of anger and fear and resentment and negativity, or you can react in a positive way and just kind of let the water, you know, flow over the rock, where you don't have to worry about it. It just kind of happens. Like, you accept it, you understand that it's there, you understand that you can't do anything about it, and you move on. If you can do something about it, this is when you have to learn how to be adaptable and how to make change. So I mentioned this in another video before, where you kind of come to this crossroads in your brain when you're making decisions, and one of them is going to be towards the route of like the discipline, which is going to be where you want to go the most, what you want the most, and then the other road is what you want now. So this is always going to happen, and it's up to you to be aware that this is happening in the first place, and then identify what is it that you want now versus what you want most, and then make that other decision to go towards what you want most. So fear also comes from having this perception of the world, and how do you change your perception of the things that are happening to you? So it's very easy to sit here and say and be, you know, ungrateful for a lot of the things we have, or take things for granted. We all do it whether we say we do or not. And the first way that you can come about changing this is by experiencing and putting out gratitude into the world. So if you were to take 5 minutes in the morning and find 5 things that you were grateful for, and then find deep reasons why you were grateful for them, what this helps produce is it not only helps you realize what you have, but it also helps you realize your view of the world and how much these little things mean to you. So for example, if I can say, I wake up in the morning and say, I am extremely grateful for my car. Like, I don't drive a super nice car, I just took it to the mechanic, but I can be worried about those things and say, I don't like the color, or other people won't like the car, or I have to take it to the mechanic all the time, or whatever, and live in that place, and that my perception of the world and how much issues there are and how much anger and frustration my car causes me. Or I can live in this place of gratitude and say, I am so thankful that I have a car, that I don't have to walk to work, or that I don't have to take the bus, or that I don't have to be out in the elements when it's raining trying to go get groceries. And how quick it is, it can take me from my house to the grocery store instead of having to ride a bike. I have to be out in the heat like I have air conditioning. And it's like starts to take me down through all these things. Like, if I want to take my dog somewhere, I can just toss her in the car and we can go. It makes things so much simpler in a way. Instead of living in this place of worrying about problems, we worry about what we have, which is really quite a lot. So, for an example, for someone who is over 250 pounds who wants to be under, there's probably a lot of stigma around the way that you look in your own mind, and you can say, I don't like the way I look, I don't like the way I feel, like I suck, all these different things. Or you can say, I'm thankful that I have a body that I can work on, I have a powerful mind that I can learn to change, and I can learn to adapt in a way that's going to help me reach my goals. I am thankful that I have access to food. I'm thankful that I like to eat all these different varieties that are available, and you can look at it from this way. So experiencing and expressing gratitude helps change our perception of the world, which is extremely important. And it's also going to help reduce the amount of fear and negative emotions we experience. So one of the ways that we're going to start working on it, deciding who we want to become, is I want you to kind of create like a positive and open headspace where you can do this. So experiencing gratitude is a good way, because it's going to help start changing some of the brain waves that you have into being more positive and on a path towards enlightenment and towards hope instead of fear. And then another thing that you can do is just do like a really quick, short, like meditative practice where you can meditate for 3 to 5 minutes, and all you're doing is focusing on your breath. I mentioned this in a video before, but you're just going to take a deep breath in through your nose and then out through your mouth, and you're not actually controlling your breathing, but rather just understanding and noticing your breath. So notice it as it comes into the nose and then expands within your rib cage and within your diaphragm, and then as it goes back out, and then on from there. You can feel it across maybe your lips or as it comes in and out of your nose. So what that's going to do is, as thoughts come by, you just kind of recognize the thought, come back to breathing. And maybe you go down a rabbit hole for a minute, come right back to breathing. And you're not judging yourself, you're not experiencing emotion for that. Understand that it happens and that it's hard, it's going to take some time, but you're just always coming back to breathing, because what it's doing is it's kind of severing that connection for you to go down these emotional circuitry pathways in your brain. So what this is going to do is it brings awareness back to you, and being aware of your emotions and how you act is going to be extremely important in creating this new version of yourself. Because like I said, when you go back and you're trying to say, I want to be under 200 pounds, what would I look like if I was under 200 pounds? What kind of clothes would I wear if I was 200 pounds? So I'm asking myself all these different questions, right? And as I ask myself these questions, my brain is going to start pulling from different memories and different information throughout my life that can say, okay, well, I know this guy who's 180 pounds, and this is the style that I like to wear, and I probably do this, and which means that this company is probably going to make clothes that are good for me, and I like the way that they design stuff. So now you just start pulling from all these different places, and what you're doing is you're starting to put together a vision. So it's kind of like you're creating like an avatar character for a video game or something like that. You're just building this person and this lifestyle and this life that you are living. And so by experiencing gratitude, we come from a place of hope, and then by doing this meditative practice, we are creating awareness, and this awareness allows us to, whenever we do start thinking and we sit down and we say, okay, and we ask ourselves the questions, what would it be like if I was under 200 pounds? There's going to be part of my brain that's going to say, well, you could never do it. So now this is where the awareness comes in. You say, okay, why do I think that I could never do it? You know, what is the emotion that I am feeling that's associated with this line of thinking? And you can say, okay, well, you know, I had this bad thing happen to me in my past, or I tried this before and it didn't work. So now this is where you turn around, you go back to that kind of gratitude, and you start kind of like drawing on these different parts of yourself, and you say, you know, but I am, you know, it's more than just telling yourself like, you know, I am skinny. Like, that's not going to work, because the truth is right now you're not. And you could say, I am under 180 pounds. Well, the truth is that you're not. So that kind of manifesting doesn't work, but you have to say, I am capable of being under 200 pounds. So every time these negative thoughts come through, what you just say is, I am capable of doing this. You know, it didn't work before, but I am capable of it because I am going to try again, and I'm going to be brave enough to take this leap of something that I believe in, and I'm going to try again. So that's where you kind of start changing your thinking. So now the easiest way that I have found to start exploring these different areas of yourself into kind of developing this vision and this manifestation for this person that you want to become is what I call staff meetings. So staff meetings are essentially where I will go on a walk with a goal in mind or a problem that I want to solve or explore, and then on the walk I'll just talk out loud to myself, almost like I'm on my own therapist, and I'm just kind of pulling on these different aspects and these different parts of me. So I have a part of me that is an athlete, and so I will draw on parts of that remembers that I just need to practice something over and over and over in order to get good at it. And I'll pull on this other part of me that really likes the Western culture and really likes to work hard and be outside and be creative and learn and just connect with nature and grow and build things. And then I'll pull on that part of me and say, okay, I want to do this, like, what are some creative ways that I can get there? What resources do I have? What resources can I create? Who can I talk to? And so I pull on these different aspects of myself, and I just talk out loud. And as I'm talking out loud, I'll make notes in my phone, and I'll come up with this big list to solve the problem or to explore this different part of me. So what I want you guys to do is kind of take into account all of the things that I've said leading up to this point, and I want you to understand that awareness is going to be extremely important, because when these thoughts come in, these negative thoughts, I want you to be aware of them and then kind of explore, where is this negative emotion coming from? Why is it that I think this? And then understand that this negative emotion is really coming about because it's your brain and your body trying to keep you in a place that's comfortable and familiar. So fear comes from not understanding what's coming next, not having control. So fear is a big emotion that a lot of people experience to keep them where they are. So if you can just identify that fear is what you're experiencing, but you are not your emotions, your emotion is not reality, it's just something that you're feeling, and that's it. Because the story that's associated with that fear is going to feel very real. But if you can create a story out of gratitude and this awareness and being able to kind of envision this new sense of you, pulling on these different parts of you, what you'll do is you'll start to shift that way of thinking into something that's more positive. So kind of to just wrap this up here, what I want you guys to do is, like I said, do just like a quick meditation, experience some gratitude, help kind of put yourself in the right headspace. It doesn't have to be 5 minutes for the meditation either. If you'd like it to be longer, by all means, go a little bit longer. But again, you're just trying to bring your awareness back to the breath every time you get off track, and then experience gratitude and really go deep into why is it that these 5 things mean so much to you. And I want those 5 things to kind of be in line with you yourself rather than external things, because again, we can only control ourselves. So if you can come from a place where you're experiencing gratitude about yourself, you're now starting to change this perception that you have of yourself, which is a lot of times what's holding you guys back. So, and then once you get this headspace, I want you guys to go on this staff meeting trip with yourself and just go walk for an hour, 45 minutes, half an hour, and I'd say 45 minutes at the minimum. I want you guys to really go out and explore and talk out loud to yourself. Go out to a trail where nobody is and just talk. If you want to put headphones in, put headphones in so it's like you're talking on the phone. If you don't want to talk when people go by, that's totally fine. But I would go somewhere where you guys get to be alone and kind of just think to yourself. And I want you guys to just walk, experience nature, and just kind of be in this headspace where I want to envision who I get to become when I'm under 200 pounds, when I'm under 15% body fat. And just ask yourself a variety of questions. And like these questions are, what kind of clothes would you wear? Who would you hang out with? How much more energy would you have? Would you be more productive? You know, would you be dating somebody? Would you be more confident? What would your life be like when you were more confident? So just start asking really a ton of questions. If you want to sit down and write down this list of questions and then answer them, that's another great way to do it too. Now you guys know what to do, so go ahead and do it. And I'm excited to talk to you guys soon and see what you came up with.